What is the creepiest / most disturbing internet rabbit hole you've gone down? And why? Plants can exhibit Pavlov's behavior, meaning they remember and can be trained. Even though they have nothing that we can describe as a brain or a neural network. Study shows plants can learn from experience. Plants remember. Here is the evidence. Plants can make memories. Signaling %20 network %20 in %20 their %20 cells. Undefined. I once found a fetish forum for people who collect STDs and deliberately infect others as it turns them on. Full-on discussions about which hookers to bear back to get the complete set. Really freaked me out more than etc. ever did. I can't even remember how I found it. I backed away quickly and never looked back. Undefined. Comments below reliably inform, although I am not googling bug chasers. Yo, what is? I don't want to Google it. Bruh, I'm curious but I don't wanna search it. I looked at it and the site's broken. And on the Wayback Machine it's literally just a poorly constructed site about bogs and building bog gardens. Unless I'm missing something. Also checked out in case it was a typo. But that's just a Chinese person's self-portrait of them and their cats. This isn't really that great of an answer as it's the first thing that comes to mind. But I watched a lot of To Catch a Predator footage early in COVID. Those people are disgusting. And it's so weird to see some plain-ass dude be otherwise totally normal seeming, but have disgusting desires. And then turn into a lying machine when they get caught. That moment when someone realizes they are exposed. Millions of people are going to know. And they are also going to lose their career / job, family, friends, etc. Is just a very complex, interesting and gross human reaction to see. I went down this rabbit hole too. Did you see the one where Chris Hansen knew the guy? The way the guy just goes. No. Chris. Imagine being friends with Chris and still doing those things. Gross. Damn. I wish I remember his name. Years ago I watched a video on YouTube of Elvis' last phone call which was recorded. In the comments there was this guy who had claimed to know Elvis personally and who went on about how he was in his final days. I grew very suspicious. I clicked his YouTube channel and found more comments on other dead celebrity videos of him claiming to be a family friend. I searched this guy's name and found his weird ass beeping website. It was the most bizarre speep I've ever seen. It was full of long posts about how this guy was a lead designer and architect in some important buildings worldwide. It also chronicled all of his celebrity friends. Guy was definitely schizophrenic, I assume. Finding his website was just so odd. It's like looking into a portal into his mind. Since then I've become very interested in schizophrenia and I've happened to stumble upon others who seem to have it. This one guy on LinkedIn is a writer. He goes on these rambles on his LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter about a girl who was killed. But his sentences are all circular. If that makes sense. Almost like talking with someone with dementia who keep repeating the same thing over and over. Except this guy has been doing the same thing for years. Just lost in a possible fairy tale. The mind is beeped. Undefined. And a huge thank you to people who are diagnosed schizophrenia / schizoaffective who are taking the time to write to me here. It's always interesting to read. This is also a very sensitive subject for many, and if there's even one person not happy with this comment, DM me and I will remove it / edit it ASAP. This guy once commented on my girlfriend's picture of her and her friends on Instagram saying you bitches will all burn in hell, praise God, or something like that. He had his name listed, but no photos or anything. I screenshotted it and shared it with some friends asking if they knew who the guy was. One of my buddies said he used to ride with him to middle school and that he would duck under the window so people outside the car couldn't watch him. I looked him up on Facebook and found multiple profiles, all with dozens of bizarre selfies. One having a link to his YouTube channel, which had tons of hour-long videos. All of them were just total nonsensical ramblings about being perfect, God, virgins, and biology. There's something intriguing and disturbing about finding an online representation of someone's mental illness. It's public, yet a very private look into their deterioration. It's like finding an untreated schizophrenic's notebook full of ramblings. Templio's is a trip. Worth the read. The guy behind it was pretty genuinely insane. Literally and figuratively. He used his homebrew OS to talk to God, and believed he was married to a YouTuber that didn't talk to him. I was a lurker in a car forum for many years. This was probably 8 or so years ago. One time someone posted a thread that linked to an insurance auto website that resold accident cars to reclaim money. There was a whole category of cars labeled biohazard. And these are the cars that end up with body fluids in them, giant speeps from being in an accident, drive-by shootings with blood everywhere, even suicide cars with brains blasted on the roof. These auto auctions don't want to clean that mess up, so they will sell the cars cheap. Some people in the forum even found news articles that corresponded with the murder/accident/ etc. in a particular car. It was incredibly creepy. But I admittedly spent hours and hours sometimes looking through these disgusting, tragic cars. The group stalking sites and subreddit. Just to be clear, I don't think it's real, but holy shit. It's just so crazy thinking about how all these people are dead ass convinced that there are massive conspiracies against them. I didn't leave the link on purpose because after spending any significant amount of time on there, you sort of start to think it could be real. Holy speep. And I thought I was crazy. The public suicide of R. Bud Dwyer. I was listening to Get Your Gun by Marilyn Manson and found out that it included an audio sample of that moment. I was curious and found a video of him, Dwyer, shooting himself in the mouth with a pistol. I never knew how much blood can come out of someone's nose. I didn't know how to react. And I just laughed. It wasn't funny at all. It was disturbing. I don't know why I laughed. Laughing is one way the brain can overcome acute stress. Crying is another. You don't need to feel bad. It was just the shock of it and your mind trying to distress. Jonestown Massacre. A cult lead town that all were coerced into suicide. There's an audio recording on YouTube of the whole town committing mass suicide. Albert Fish. A cannibal serial killer that wrote a letter to the parents of one of the little girls he ate. Undefined. 1. The murder of Sylvia Likens. It's a really beeped up story about a girl who was being horrifically abused for months. 2. Unit 731. A lesser known but horrible WW2 camp in Japan where they experimented on human beings. Mainly on Chinese and some others like Mongolians, Koreans and Russians. The main thing they studied was diseases. Doing things like forcing STI-infected males to rape females to give it to them. Among many other horrors. 3. This one is much less horrible and mostly just sad. Thalidomide was an OTC drug sold mostly in Germany, marketed as being safe for pregnant women. Mostly being to help with dizziness and morning sickness among a few other things. However, mothers who used thalidomide most certainly gave birth to babies with birth defects. Primarily with shortened or missing limbs. Some of the thalidomide babies ended up just fine and very successful, but this was the 1960s, so many were terribly mistreated. The company still hasn't done anything to make up for it. I listened to the Jonestown Massacre tapes too. I wish I could unhear that. I remember seeing one of the kids of the main guy being interviewed by Oprah once. He was an adult by then. Just hearing about what happened was enough for me. Was he one of Joan's adopted sons? I know one of them literally only missed the suicide because he and the compound's basketball team were away at a game. One of the weirdest for me was reading about the violence in Yugoslavia during WW2. Especially about the Croatian Ustaše and the Jasenovac concentration camp. The entire area was beset by civil war, with shocking violence originating from multiple parties. But the anecdotes about the Ustaše stand out. A high-ranking member of the Nazi Party visited Croatia, where the Nazis had helped establish a puppet state. Witnessing the extent of the violence himself, he was quoted as saying, "This is enough to make a man vomit. Jasenovac is something no mortal man could bear to witness." Beep dude. I wish I didn't read it, but glad I did at the same time. I didn't know anything about it. Auschwitz is commonly talked about in any WW2 history stuff. This was way worse. I can't believe gassing people sounds better than what happened there. Hitler's camps were only the starting point. Beep. I can't believe I'm saying this, but Hitler's camps were mostly about numbers. There was some weird and horrible speep on the side, but it was incidental to the relatively efficient death machine. A lot of other concentration camps since then have been set up with much darker goals in mind than simple extermination. Yuck. I feel dirty. That's why we need to learn about it and remember the horrors. It's disturbing to realize that a campaign of genocide could be run like an assembly line. But it's been done before and will be tried.
Hey guys, if you like this video then smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel for more contents like this. And don't forget to press that bell icon to get notified for future videos. Thanks for watching. Click here to see more videos.